Yes, the Trailhawk is back. Now, those of you who remember when Jeep launched the updated and facelifted Compass, they withheld the Trailhawk version. We had, of course, all the regular trims, but the off-road focused Trailhawk, well, that wasn't launched then. Now, though, it's finally arrived and we have it for a day to play around with it and get to know how good it is, what's new, and I'm going to show you everything there is to know about the Trailhawk. Before we do that, though, I also happen to have the regular Compass with us. So why not take a look at the outsides and see what makes the two cars different. So let's begin right here at the front. Now, one of the biggest differences that you will find in a Trailhawk is the front bumper. As you can see, it's a completely different unit and it's been designed to give the Trailhawk version a better angle of approach, which means, come obstacles, it would be a lot easier with the Trailhawk. That car there, the standard Compass, it's not so bad at all, but it's just this one has a sharper cut, giving you a better angle of approach. Now, while the bumper is different, of course, the portion on top here, the bonnet, the headlights, they remain the same. Though on the bonnet you have this lovely black decal. Now, one difference to the old Trailhawk, well, the old one had a fully black decal. The one here, as you can see, has this cool little red stripe with the Trailhawk lettering. I think it really looks nice. It's not over the top, but it's still quite bold. Let me know what you think though in the comments. I'd love to hear that. And while you do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. Now, the difference on the side really is down to the rims and tires. As you can see, the alloys here are a different pattern. In fact, they're a style that has not been used before on any Compass variant, including the previous Trailhawk. And they're 17 inches while these are 18. Now, the reason they're smaller is, well, pretty obviously off-road you want a smaller rim and a taller sidewall for better protection of the rim and better cushioning when you're scrambling over rocks and hard terrain. Interestingly though, the tires, they are marked HT or highway terrain, but Jeep tell us that this particular brand is better suited for off-road applications that the Trailhawk is obviously going to be doing. And then of course you have the badging difference. The Compass lettering here is all black. On the Trailhawk you've got a nice little red insert and you have the much coveted Trail rated 4x4 badge on the fender. At the rear, things are pretty similar between the two cars, and in fact if you look closely you'll realize there is a small difference, in that being you have a tow hook painted red, of course, here for that element of style, but it is a functional tow hook. And interestingly, in a few markets abroad and overseas, you do have a front tow hook as well. It's deleted for India because of the pedestrian safety norms. Other changes at the back are then cosmetic. Of course, you've got the Trailhawk badging here, and you'll have, of course, the trim level badging on the regular Compass. The angle of departure, Jeep do tell us that it is greater than the regular car, though not from a bumper profile or a reshaping. It's more due to the fact that the Trailhawk runs a little bit higher than the regular Compass. The difference is about 20 mm between the two cars, the Trailhawk measuring 205 mm. Now, moving inside, compared to the earlier Trailhawk, there's naturally a big improvement. Now, with the update which was launched last year, Jeep really spent all of their efforts and money on the insides, and the interior changes were really massive. So you had this new dashboard, you got a larger touch screen with, of course, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay connectivity. You had the dials completely replaced with a fully digital screen there, and really it was a really welcome update, and the Trailhawk well benefits from that too. As you can see all around, it does look really nice and premium, and I can tell you it's really put together really nicely and solid. There's a lot of soft touch materials all around here. What sets apart the Trailhawk, of course, is some aesthetic bits, like you've got the red stitching here on the inner rim of the steering wheel. You've got the Trailhawk lettering embroidered into the seats here. The other big difference, of course, which is functional, is the drive modes. Now, on a regular Compass, you've got auto, you've got snow, sand and mud. In a Trailhawk, you'll also have rock mode. These modes basically alter throttle settings and the torque flow, thus giving you better traction over the varied terrain. So for instance, in sand and mud, wheel spin is minimized to prevent you from digging yourself in, while rock mode allows for a little more spin to help you gain footing on a hard ground. Now, these modes, of course, if you look back to the pre-facelifted Compass, you will find one change. Sand and mud were separate. Here with the updated cars, including the new Trailhawk, sand and mud have been combined. The rest of the insides are pretty similar between the two cars. So the seats and the space available are the same, which means while it's comfortable, rear seat space isn't class leading. In terms of equipment, the Trailhawk is based on the top spec S trim. So you have all the goodies like powered front seats with a driver's seat memory, ventilated seats in front, a 360-degree camera, a full panoramic sunroof, and full-length side curtain airbags. Now onto the driving bit, and first up is off-road. Driving the Compass off-road is pretty much a breeze, quite frankly. You can just leave it in the auto mode and the system sorts out everything for you just perfectly. I mean, when it detects wheel slippage, it will even move to four-wheel lock, where it locks the rear differential, which incidentally it's done right now. So like I was saying, auto mode works just fine. You can, of course, if you want and you think you're better off with a certain manual control in a specific mode, you can move to a certain mode. So for instance, right now I'm over a little bit rocky terrain. I could move to the rock mode manually like that and carry on. Now, of course, this is just a trail, a rough trail, no doubt. But at the top of the mountain, though, there's going to be a small little stretch which I want to take this car over and show you some of the bits that make it a Trailhawk. So, for example, the angle of approach, the angle of departure. You're going to get to see all of that. And you know what? Since we have the regular Compass, let's take that one through as well. I will move to 4 low. Because you just want speed to be down and have better throttle modulation. Now, interestingly, in 4 low on the Compass, in typical 4x4s, you have the gearbox, and after the gearbox, you have another gear in the transfer case, which is the 4 low or the low ratio gearbox. It sort of further multiplies the torque that's coming out of the gearbox. Here, though, what Jeep have done, the low ratio is actually housed inside the gearbox. So the 9-speed gearbox that we have here, the first gear is actually the low ratio gearbox, right? When you start off normally driving, the car actually begins to start driving in the second ratio. So from 2 to 9 are the gears that you use on road, and it's only in extreme situations where the car would go into that first gear, which is, well, technically 4 low. Jeep do say that they've done this design, or rather this design helps them make a more efficient sort of power transmission with fewer losses. Okay, so we've arrived. There's a set of pipes up ahead and a little bit of an articulation where, I've got Rahul, who's going to be like a spotter for me. When you're going off-road, it's always handy to have somebody outside the car, spotting for you and guiding you through. Interestingly though, this car also has a surround camera, which I have to say the resolution is really quite good. And as you can see here on the screen, if you don't have a spotter, it's a good backup to have. And I am going to just take these pipes. Yeah, okay. Now the trick here is not to bounce the car too much, because you will end up compressing the suspension and hitting your car on them. So like that. And now we have another obstacle where you'll see the angle of approach really helping out clear, like this. Yeah, and now when we crest over, This is where the ramp breakover angle helps. And finally now, angle of departure. So that was the Trailhawk. Now let's go through with the regular compass. As you can see, the pipes are tackled quite well and the compass gets by quite easily. The approach, the breakover, the departure angles are all quite sufficient, and as I said, the regular compass is quite capable off-road. But I'm going to keep going, and it's here where you can see we need a better angle of approach than we have on the regular car. Plus, the regular compass does not get a full engine protection plate and that massive underbody protection like the Trailhawk does. So, it's back to the Trailhawk. Right, so as you've seen now, like I said, the regular compass and the Trailhawk are both pretty adept off-road, pretty impressive. So yeah, but of course there is a difference between the two, and that's what this next obstacle is going to illustrate. And as you saw, the compass, the regular car, we couldn't get by. Trailhawk, I think it's going to do it. Yeah, there you go, gently does it. And yeah, bit more power now that we have traction, and yes, we are out. Like I said, the Trailhawk would do it. So there you go, that's really the difference between the Trailhawk and the compass. What's also nice is that out on the road, the compass's manners are equally impressive, especially when it comes to handling. You know, you find yourself on a twisty section of road and you will really enjoy the way the compass handles. It's as close as you can get to a car. In fact, it's very car-like in its road manners, and we're all quite big fans of it. I mean, you know, tuck into a corner like this and there is grip. Of course, you push it really hard, it will understeer gently, but otherwise, it's just such a delight driving this car through a set of corners. You know, the suspension is set up just nicely and perfectly, and the steering, it's got some good heft to it, which also means it's not going to be super light and twirly in the city. But, you know, when you're in stretches like this and at high speeds, it's really something you would like. The suspension also delivers good high-speed stability. At low speeds, over bumps in the city, there is a lot of body movement, but as you go faster, the ride simply keeps getting better and better, and even over rough patches, you can just sail through at a higher speed than the rest of the traffic. So the engine that you have, the 170 horsepower 2-litre diesel, is the same in the Trailhawk that you have in the regular Compass, and really that's actually quite a nice thing. It's very refined, quite silent. It isn't peppy, so you know, you put your foot down like this to overtake, and there is a while before you can get going, but you aren't really left wanting for power. It's just that if you're looking for that sharp, peppy, punchy kind of feel, you're not going to find it here. It's just a very strong and linear, uniform power delivery all through. The 9-speed gearbox too isn't quick with its shifts, and this is even in manual mode. But it's refined and smooth, and if you're driving at a relaxed pace, it does the job just fine. So the Trailhawk is clearly very capable and adept both on and off-road. And while interior space isn't its strong point, it shines bright in almost every other area. Its dynamics on and off-road are truly impressive. It's built well. It's also pretty loaded with a lot of good features like a massive panoramic sunroof and the ventilated front seats, to name a few. It, however, is going to come at a premium over the regular Compass. Thanks to the lifted suspension, of course, and the underbody protection, the retuned powertrain software, the off-road tires, and the other aesthetic bits. So, should you buy a Compass, and which one? If you want a luxury SUV that's also capable over varied terrain, the regular Compass will do just fine. But if you want to keep going where the regular Compass stops, then look to the Trailhawk. That was this thing, yeah. I messed up I was going to say more rubber for better protection or something, and I was like, no.